Hello and welcome. This is Diana and you are watching Holistic Vibes Daily Message Life Path 33. This is going to be for what's possibly going to be coming up today. And in all honesty, like, you could feel very confused. You could be, I don't want to say spiritually attacked, but it's kind of like a impediment of your thoughts, right? So it's very important that you clear your creative space, that you look at your vibrational frequencies, like who you are being exposed to. Because in all honesty, like, this is like some kind of a mind manipulation, right? It's an attack on your creative space. And it could almost make you feel like you are like fighting against the current, or like fighting against a state of confusion, right? It's really important for you to understand, like, if things are collapsing around you, the reason of the why it's collapsing around you. And like they just said, like, it's reading the room, right? And understanding like what energies are in your field and who it is coming from. And it's all about that, like, when you identify the what's sleeping in the dark, like, then you pull them to the light and they can no longer sleep and not be seen, right? And so it's you stepping into your self-mastery and your superiority. So many Life Path 33s give away their power and their ignatic vibration, right? Because you guys are so stinking powerful, and it's even like we can tend to forget that there's others that are just as powerful as us in this world, right? Because it's a very lonely journey. And I'm kind of picking up like somebody is very isolated and somebody is very alone. And it's almost like whatever happened in the eclipse is kind of revisiting. So say 6 months ago you went through like major turmoil, or you went through a major transition. It's kind of revisiting itself now for whatever reason, right? Higher timeline. Let's see what we can do to... Yeah, it's something... Yeah, the thank you. It's almost like somebody is trying to block your creativity. Only 2 more, please. Yeah, it's about you transmuting, transcending vibration, and you stepping into like your own security through the reflection of self. It's kind of like you are recalibrating what you believe to be your truth, what is your divine path. It's almost like somebody is trying to plant the seed of you not coming into your own vibration of self. Like, you are never gonna find love. It's not for you. Everything is superficial. Everything is like easy, but it's not. And it's like causing you to like fight against your own grain, right? And so like you have to be persistent in the identifications of the things that are outside of you, right? It is it's a constant unfoldment of like you understanding that you are the alpha, that you like, because clear that. Take a deep breath for me and just kind of reground your energy, because it kind of feels like you're all over the place, like you're bouncing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the thing is it's like, check your grounding cord. If you need to cut the one that's on your root chakra and reground it, I don't know if like you slept with somebody who was very chaotic, or if you were around somebody who was very chaotic and so they were throwing this energy at you. But you need to take some time alone in the woods and allow yourself to reground back into nature, right? Write out like what your woulda, coulda, shouldas and your hopes, your wishes, and your desires are. And in the end, like, you surrender like the things that you are holding on to that keep coming up in the mind's eye. And because it's kind of replaying this loop to where, like, you do good, you come out of it, and then you go right back into it. And it's like, it's almost like somebody or something keeps triggering, like, your recovery process. And it's keeping your soul like in this in-between of like 3-dimension, 5-dimension, 3-dimension, 5-dimension. But like so many people forget, like, a 4th dimension is your heart-centered state of being, right? And I talk about this a lot because a lot of people go, oh, 1D, da-da-da. One dimension is essentially you operating out of your root chakra. And so people can, like, say, oh, this is a theory, this is a concept, but they're just going off of what somebody else said, and then that becomes the average of the schooling system, right? Like, so then they say, oh, this is the way it is. But in all honesty, like, nobody has incarnated that can actually say, hey, this is what it is, because it's all the unseen. And so that goes off of perception of understanding. Why is this relevant? Understanding in regards to what vibration you're actually operating out of. So get to the core root of, like, what is in your foundational experience. What is it that keeps throwing you out of a state of security, of a state of reflection, a state of a higher state of consciousness? Because that's the stuff that you have to transcend to get to your state of security, right? So that you can tap into source. And it's allowing yourself to not focus on the fight, but focus on that you have and you walk with the army that is going to handle the fight for you. Right? You need to wash your hands to the things that have been impeding you, that continue to impede you, and you have to let it be, right? And by doing that and shifting and recalibrating your alignment, you're then stepping into the desires that are going to be for you, right? When something is not the right fit, because I'm just kind of getting, they want you to sell your soul, essentially, right? Like, they want you to be available all the time. They want you to be on the wire, on the bend. I don't know. They take they as it resonates for you in your own story, right? But I'm just getting, like, they want you to be available 24/7, 7 days a week. And it's like, it's a lot, because then it's constantly telling you there is no set schedule. There is no set, like, unfolding. It's almost taking your ability to adapt completely away. And that's like a struggle for you to get into a state of relaxation. It's like you always feel like you're a driver horse. I don't know. Like you're always having to go, always in the front of the process, right? And so when the season ends, when whatever that is, when you finally claim back your own sovereignty, then all of your problems will dissipate. It's like you have to figure out, like, what is the made up story in your head. I'm also getting like somebody is reading a lot of different storylines of like a partner or like a compliment. And so like you need to ask yourself, like, in this time frame, in this this transition, like, is the story that you're feeding your mind, is that helping you get onto a higher timeline? And if it's not, then you have to ask yourself why your ego is wanting you to be fed with that information, right? And I would write this stuff out. I would literally write it out. You can even write it to you and then send it to yourself. They also just said, like, give yourself key indicating words that are going to push you onto that higher timeline, that are going to kind of snap you out of whatever you're sitting in. Yeah, there's something about, like, the limiting belief of being seen, exposed, the way you're going to be exposed. The way everything is going to be exposed, the way it's going to shift. Yeah, there's something with this eclipse energy. They just keep screaming it. Like, there's something that happened in the eclipse season, either this year or last year. Whatever transpired, whatever was taking place, there is something that is coming to the surface that will either make your life easier or make it complicated, right? And so, like, you need to take time and get with the divine and figure out, like, why this demonic, like, dark energy is essentially feeding on your frequency, and why it's allowed to impede your energetic field, right? What are the key attributes that were agreed upon? And I'm also kind of picking up, like, this is something that was done outside of your control. I'm getting it was not you. It was maybe a family member did this, and you had no recollection because you were too little, if that makes sense. And so then you need to figure out how to reflectively call judgment and take away the mercy. Because I'm getting, like, you're a very kind person that constantly allows people to slide, or constantly allows people to not be held for the actions at place, right? Even in your current reality, this is kind of something that you're always doing. And so you need to no longer show mercy, but ask for justice in a joyful way, right? It's not justice in regards to revenge, but it's more of a justice, an eye for an eye, right? Whatever they put out into the forest is now hollering back at the individual. And so they may very well feel like whatever, like, say you've had 5 years of bouts where you were schizophrenic, where you felt like you were going nuts because you were coming into your claircognizant abilities, your clairsentient abilities, where your gifts, your psychic abilities, your intuition were coming online, right? And it gave you in this loop, and you kind of essentially felt like your hands were bound, and that although you were progressing forward, you were still stagnant. And you were still, like, not able to provide for yourself. Like, these chains are being broken, and they're essentially going back to the person who sent them to you. And so maybe this is confirmation, right? If you've been confused, if you feel like everything's falling around you, it could be a dissolving of your tower, of your current reality, right? And so, your 3-year-old self, or your 111-year-old self, right? You are an alchemist, you are an artist. And so understanding, like, how you're transmuting energy is part of, like, the evolutionary cycle. Understanding that, like, everything is everything takes a turn. You can't give up, but you have to give up thinking of the old you. And so every time you get triggered and you go back to these old paradigms where you used to operate out of these old ways of being, like, understand that, right? It says shake up and mix the energy that is within you. Imagine heavy, dark pepper as negative energy and release it from every crevice of your body. Allow it to fall onto the earth to be recycled. Pepper represents the thoughts and feelings that do not serve you. It's a heavy energy that is hosted the pain in your body or the problems in the day that you just experienced. Now pepper is gone. Imagine a lighter salt coming down from above you, filling you with light and happy energy, which moves you into a space filled by pepper. That was filled by pepper. So this is essentially like you filling in the gaps and the rips and the tears in your aura. But my whole thing is like, part of the reason why we're on this planet is to remove dark, dense energies that have been feeding on bodies, right? They're either souls that have had bodies or have not had bodies in the physical experience. And part of every 33 on this planet is to remove the energies that are attached to not only you, but attached to other light workers, other souls, even the souls that, or even the bodies that have no souls, right? They're still being fed on as batteries. And so, like, in order to help lift the frequency of the planet, we have to remove these entity attachments so that they're no longer feeding on you. So you don't want to put them back into the earth. You want them to go up to the cosmic gateway so that they can continue on their own evolutionary journey on a different planet, right? You give them the option to turn to light. You light their spark of God and you say, look, if you want to go, I'm going to allow you to exit out of the crown. And Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, any of the archangels can help transport them, right? They're also telling me this is for somebody who has 4 wings. So you are actively part of the cherubim, which is the army of God, right? I mean, you can have 2 wings, you can have 6 wings, but they're showing me 4 wings. So that's what I would do. So instead of pushing it back into the vibrational frequency of the earth, sending it up through the crown. And a lot of people you're going to come across as like, oh, well, the earth can transmute it. The earth can transmute it. Part of the reason why we are incarnated on this planet in this current frame is so that we can help the earth raise her frequency to 4th density. And so you don't want to put more lower vibrational entities back into the earth, because they're just going to go hunt for somebody who's in a lower vibrational frequency. That normally ends up being little kids, right? They attach to kids because kids don't know and they don't have the boundaries set in place. There's also an aligning to a divine connection. So if somebody's been impeding you, there is like an overlapping of timelines, and your higher timeline is stepping into being, because you and your counterpart are now fully aligned. You can take that as it resonates, but it's just kind of popping in, that there's been like this web that's been woven, and they've been trying to keep you into a lower state of being, but there's alignment that's taking place within self, because somebody is, even though they're incurring obstacles, like they're still trudging through. And so allow yourself to write down and focus on the desires, no longer allowing like the old to keep replaying within self, right? So I'm going to leave that there. If something in this resonated with you, Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I really want to get to the point where we are at 1,000 strong, so we can start doing lives, and we can start doing meditations, and we can start doing transmutations, and I can do these readings, and literally like get confirmation that the stuff is like releasing out of your body, right? Because you are going to feel different after you listen to this. Part of my gift is transmutation of energy. Like, that's what I'm here to do. And so you will feel lighter, you will feel brighter, and you will go out and get more clarity, right? Through the people you encounter, through your own inner guidance, through your own inner dialogue with your higher self. And this is just to create a little bit more space so that you can open up your heart center and get into that higher vibrational state of being. So be well, and until next time, ciao.